I would like to welcome each of you to tonight's meeting. The school board meeting is officially called to order. At this time, if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence at the beginning, please. Okay, the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome to the April the 4th, 2022 school board meeting of the Madison County School Board. The school board meeting is an advertised meeting held in the public, not a public meeting. We have an established advertised agenda that will be followed. Anyone wishing to address the school board may do so during the public input section of the meeting. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. The sign-in sheet to speak during public input is on the table to the left as you enter the boardroom. Please sign in if you wish to speak. Our school board minutes are being recorded this evening by Ms. Bishop, confidential secretary and secretary to the superintendent. School board members present, Ms. Williamson, Mr. Carroll, Ms. Gibson, Ms. Bell, and myself, Bart Alford. District staff members, the superintendent, Ms. Joseph, Ms. Bishop, the confidential secretary and secretary of the superintendent, and Mr. Reeves, our school board attorney. At this time, I would like to again welcome each of you to tonight's meeting. The first item we have is a recognition of our 2022 Teacher of the Year, Miss Wendy Willis from Greenville Elementary School. She teaches kindergarten. It's great to have Miss Willis here. If she will come up, Miss Joseph will make the presentation.
I would like to present to all of you districts which one Teacher of the Year for Madison County School District. And she will represent us as on level as a state lead. And so again, Ms. Willis, congratulations.
Thank you for
all
you do.
Congratulations. Again, congratulations, Ms. Willis, for Teacher of the Year for the district. The next item we have is a presentation from the high school high-tech students. I don't know that they're here.
Yes.
They're here? Okay. Okay, great. If you'll come forward, you may present.
It's Ms. Block.
Okay.
Oh, we've been special.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. She's always
So, High School High Tech is a program at the high school. It's through the Able Trust through the state. So the benefits of High School High Tech are to ensure that students graduate from high school, to enable students to explore a variety of career options, post-secondary options that they can do after they graduate, help develop soft skills for today's workforce like organization, building resumes, job interview skills. We also established post-high school graduation plan for high school students with disabilities. So we partner with VR, which is vocational rehab through the state, which helps the kids get all sorts of benefits. So vocational rehab will help the kids like pay for their uniforms if they need to pay for uniforms, transportation. A few of our kids have gotten scholarships through them because they're in High School High Tech and we went through VR. So High School High Tech partners up with community-based partnership. It's with students, parents, and families, businesses, education, and then the voc rehab. They're all over the state of Florida. There's 43 high schools right now, and that's all they can currently provide. So we are one of the 43 high schools that have it across Florida. Able Trust is Florida's leader of disability employment. So it's all disabilities, from learning disabilities. You can have a 504 to be in the club, which is ADHD, and things like that. We also have some of the kids that are intellectually disabled in our club as well. We go through vocational rehabilitation, collaborate with all sorts of employers, Publix, TCC. We've gone on a few field trips this year. TCC was one of them, and they talked to the students about what they can do for employment, but also school-wise. And then we're also expanding more with companies and places around the state of Florida that will hire kids with disabilities. And then the main contact is Colleen Agner. She is the director for the high school high tech in the state of Florida. And then, Mackenzie, do you want to talk before we play our commercial?
So we did a commercial, and it was like all the states, and there's like, I think 10 of us, 10 schools that did it. And we came in 4th place, and this was our commercial we did. We did it there at the high school, and it was pretty fun making it.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. I like your shirt.
Thank you, Matt Coatee's made it for me.
Mine's plain. I don't like it.
It is kind of plain. You wanna go see what they got?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, welcome to Matt Coatee's. What can I do for y'all?
I'm looking for a exciting shirt.
Okay, well here's some prints we can do, and
I think I like that one.
I think I do too.
okay, what shirt? Tie-dye one?
Yes.
Okay, that would be $10, and can you give me 15 minutes, and it will be ready for you. I just got it done. I think it looks pretty great.
Thank you.
What do you think of that?
I like it.
And then we've been on a couple of trips and some in-class trips. So first we went to TCC, and we talked about like the different classes they offer and how they help with their students that have disabilities and how they accommodate you, and even after college they stick with you and help you. And then the manufacturing day, we talked about how students learn about places at NASA and places where they build airplanes. So was able to talk about the cool stuff about airplanes and all. And then we did FAFSA night at the high school. And then with the video, our commercial, we learned about business plan, how we can do, like, run our own business if we would like to in the future, if we were to go into that career. And we learned how we can like plan it out, and that was a commercial that we did.
That's good.
Do you guys have any questions?
I liked your commercial.
Really good, really good.
It sounds like a
Good stuff.
good program.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Their class sponsor is Miss Marissa Block. She's a school sponsor, and what was the student's name again?
This is Mackenzie Singletary.
Mackenzie Singletary was a student, so thank you for coming tonight. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to look at, I'm going to pull item 5.1, the easement for City of Madison. That is being pulled. So that will be the only one deleted from items of individual consent, no other item. Public comment at this time, agenda number 3.1. Is there any? Okay, Mr. Grass, if you don't have to if you don't wish to.
I appreciate the time. Mike's Ben Grass, doing a small development right next door to the Madison Central School on Captain Brown Road. I'm one of those that believes that less information is better and less said. It just tends to muddy the waters. But I think what happened, a little bit of confusion with this easement last week was we didn't kind of give you the whole story. So all I need to get a little bit of water in there is a 6-inch line. Several months worth of meetings with the city and with their water department and with their engineers was that if we increase this line to an 8-inch, that we could solve a bunch of problems for the school with water pressure issues. So the intent of this easement was, yes, to bring me water, but their bigger plan that was going on was how to fix the other water pressure issues, which, not knowing that, caused a little bit of grief for you guys, and I apologize for that. And it's, you know, I didn't say anything last week when Jerome pointed me out, but I thought he was doing a fantastic job, so there was no reason to really mention anything else. So I really just wanted to get up here, and if you had any questions about what was happening with that, there's a lot of things that Mr. Ginn and the engineers and Mr. White all worked on this weekend even to kind of show what was happening to fix the water pressure issues. So it's a golden opportunity that, yes, I get water at no impact to the school at all, with a big upside to the school of increasing water pressure. If you had any questions from me, I just wanted to make sure that they were all clear and didn't want to get into too much with it.
Just one little question. How
Sure.
would it, I mean, I don't know anything about water pressure, other
Sure.
than I know if you don't have it.
Yeah.
But how would it increase it? I mean, what are you going to do to increase the pressure?
So the water pressure is actually there. There's a couple of things that the city needs to do, and again, this has nothing to do with my project. This
Right.
is things that the city's doing. One is there's a series of controls that right now are just manual. So whenever they turn on that other water station up at the industrial park, they're actually spiking like 145 PSI water pressure, but it's for a small window of time during the day. It's like a 2-hour manual turn on. If they automate the controls on that, they'll be able to regulate anytime there's a fire hydrant or anything that needs water pressure, they can fix that. There's something called a SCADA system that they're doing. And then also the fact that I'm downhill, I'm gonna have a lot better water pressure from that main line up there. That's why it doesn't even affect. There's currently about 2.4 million gallons a day able to be pumped up there. 24 houses works out to about 11 gallons a minute. I mean, it's significantly, literally a drop in the bucket, which is why there's no negative impact. But also by looping that system, I'm also increasing from a 6-inch to an 8-inch line and providing fire hydrants on the backside of the school. So that easement actually wanted to go all the way down to the back of the school, because even without my project, you need this to be able to fix the water pressures up there. So me bringing this to them all of a sudden said, hey, wait a second, we've had this ongoing problem for a long time. Let's use this, let's fix it. I'm paying a large portion of the bill, the school board's getting a benefit of it. Again, it wasn't something that really affected me, but we just didn't bring it up last week. I thought everything was okay without bringing up that part of it. So,
Well, thank you for coming tonight
Thank you.
and
Thank
explain
you.
that.
thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Grass is the only one on public input at this time. The consent items, 4.1, the minutes, there's a correction to the December the 6th, 2021 minutes to include 2 volunteers who were board approved and left off. In the minutes of the March the 28th, 2022 meeting is in the minutes. 4.2 is the memorandum of understanding with the Boys and Girls Club for Madison County Central School, Greenville Elementary, Lee Elementary, and Pinetta Elementary to begin August of 2022 through the last day of school, May 2023. And the Boys and Girls Club will run from 3 to 6 p.m. daily, Monday through Friday. And those are the consent items. Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
I move to approve the consent items.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
A second.
And before you vote, the approval was to approve the minutes with the correction that the chairman said, right?
Yes, yes, with the corrections.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Mr. Carroll with the corrections that were noted. Any discussion? All those in favor, if you'll please show a hand for approval. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. 5.0, items of individual consideration. 5.1 has been pulled. 5.2, the HVAC replacements at the schools. Ms. Joseph?
Okay, what you have before you, we have been discussing this all along, we're anticipating receiving the ESSER funds. We have received the ESSER funds. And the sheet with the different projects on it, these are the final projects that he will be completing. And we're just bringing you specific costs for the different air conditioners and the units. Now, the one that's standalone, these are the ESSER funding, and we did have the freezer and cooler replacement in the ESSER funding, but that's not an allowable expense, so that expense will have to come out of capital improvement or something else. It will not be for the large freezer, small freezer, and small cooler price for $75,053. That will not be coming out of ESSER funds. All the others will be coming out of ESSER funds.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the HVAC replacements.
Ms. Reeves, you have a question?
Yeah, there was one thing, if you look at on the standalone, the cooling services proposal, if you look at the terms on the 3 of 4, page 3 of 4, if you look at the, I don't know, about 3/4 of the way down, it says disputes and choice of law.
Number what?
They're not numbered.
Oh.
We got different. So, and that has an arbitration provision, which you all have in the past said you weren't going to do. So I don't know how it is not illegal for you to have an arbitration clause in there, but that's something we haven't done in the past.
So what do you recommend us?
Well, you can either go with it, or you could approve it with that arbitration clause stricken.
What do you recommend?
This is the company that we have been dealing with, that have been
Yes.
doing all the other installations.
So we've been doing it.
Yes, they have completed Greenville, they have completed Lee, and they're 95% complete Pine Anna, replacing all the units.
So it depends on whether you think they're going to balk at you striking their arbitration clause. You're at $75,000. That's as these things go, that's not a tremendous amount of money. I mean, it's a lot of money to regular people, but for air conditioning stuff, it's not a lot of money.
But they've already done work for us, and we haven't
Haven't had a problem with it. Okay.
and we haven't had it taken out of the others.
Well, I haven't seen one of these before, I don't believe. If I have, I don't remember it.
You brought several of these,
Okay,
I don't know
well-
whether that clause was in there or not.
Well, if it was in there and I saw it, I missed it. So, but at any rate, I just bring that to your attention. I don't think you have to take that out if you don't want to. Is this urgent and we need it right now, or?
It's not urgent, we don't need it tomorrow, but that's something that we're working on when they can get the equipment and supplies in, we have to deal with it then. Because we have been working on this project for 2 years, and it's just when they can get them in.
So I don't have something I can tell you, yes, you must take it out, no, you must not take it out. It's just arbitration is a way of settling disputes that does not involve the courts. And so you end up with an arbitrator, and you can't end up with a good result that way, and you can't end up with a bad result that way, which makes it very similar to courts.
What, do you want to continue since you've made the motion?
So should I redo the motion?
Whatever you want to do. You can approve it that way, or you can approve it with that stricken.
I move to approve the HVAC replacements then.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, show of hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. Okay, 5.3, 5.3, out-of-district field trips. We have Pinetta Elementary School, kindergarten through second grade going to Rutland Farms on April the 8th, 2022, leaving at 8:30 in the morning. There's 58 students and 10 chaperones going. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-district field trip?
I move to approve the out-of-district field trips.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, show a hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of out-of-district field trips. Um, 5.4, personnel changes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Today, basically, I have 3 instructional and 1 non-instructional that I'm bringing before you for approval. 2 of those 3 on the instructional side will be for next year. Okay? And then below that, there are 15 names either in the resignation or retirement. So we've got 7 retirement, 8 resignations. Of those 8, 2 of them are due to some coaches changes, which with them moving, 2 are going back to school, 2 are just, for lack of a better word, secondary, retiring again, and then 2 are for some other reasons. So, as you in the past have said, Mr. Carroll, that troubles you with the numbers, and yes, it troubles me because I have to try to fill them. But I will promise you, the numbers that you see here are far below what we typically have at this time of the year. And I am, as you can see, I've already started filling for next year, and I will start again tomorrow. I've got a few other ones that we're working on. So we are, you want to say, we're kind of ahead of the 8 ball right now. So, and then I've got something else that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks that should help spike a little bit. So that is our recommendations, as well as 2 sub bus drivers. So that is always a blessing to get.
Always.
Because you know we need those. So I'm asking for your approval of the personnel changes, if we can, for this evening.
Can we make that one motion? I'll make the motion to approve the personnel changes as well as the 2 sub bus drivers.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell concerning the personnel changes. I simply ask that the information be posted to our dockets before the day of the meetings, Ms. Joseph.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
I understand.
I've asked, and
That was my fault. I'll take that one. The reason why I was waiting on information coming back from one of the ones that were trying to get hired, that was my fault.
it's just, I mean, it puts us in a precarious position when the day of we're having to look at things, and if you have questions about it, you can't answer it. So it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson, seconded by Ms. Bell. Any further discussion?
On one of them here, we hired her tonight. Did she resign in after the?
Yes, sir. And what that is, she was a professional, okay? She has a temporary teaching certificate. She is going to finish out this year as the teacher in that area, which she has, you know, where she can do it in that area. That's not a problem. The reason why you see the resignation at the end for her is that she is one of the ones that is choosing to go back to school next year.
I got you.
So that's what her plan is.
Okay.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson, seconded by Ms. Bell. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. 5.5, school volunteers.
As you can see, we have one there, Ms. Bodenstein. So I ask that y'all approve her, if you would, please.
Is there a motion to approve Ms. Bodenstein to be a school volunteer?
I move to approve the school volunteers.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion?
She's back.
If there's no discussion, all those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the volunteers.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. 5.6, the monthly financial report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's that time again.
Good
We're going
news.
to talk about the fun stuff.
Bring us good news.
Okay. Well, as I told you, the last couple of months, the tax money coming in early artificially inflated the fund balance. So this month, you're going to see it getting caught up. If you look, what I tried to do was show you where the numbers were as of January in the lower half of that Fund 100. So you can see, like in January, we were at, for example, in instruction, 5.7 million in expenses, and now we're at 7.6 million. This report is also taking in a 6-week period because we cut off 2 weeks on the other one. So you're seeing that you're getting about 71% of your money in already, but your 73% is being spent. So when last time you saw almost $1 million underneath the fund, the $3.3 million, now you're only seeing $700 there. That's because the expenses are catching up with the revenues. We're still in good shape. We still have a solid 5% fund balance that is discretionary. We're still at about a 7% fund balance for it all, but you're still above your 5%. You're at your 5% mark. Now, we are going to have a few more revenues coming in, but it is going to be changing every month as we get closer to the end of the year. And as of last year, we saw in the audit report last year, we saw that our total net position decreased by almost $500,000, meaning that our revenues were less than our expenses by about $500,000. So we're about in the same place. We're hoping that we can drop that down with some of this ESSER funding. But that's where we are as of right now today. It'll change next month, but we're in decent shape now. It's another reason why you have to have, like I say, that extra savings account in the bank. Because today I just found out that there was a flood in the central gym, and we have to replace the whole gym floor, which is going to be well over $100,000 to replace the whole floor. Some of the bathrooms got somehow leaked all over the place. So that's the reason you have to have a fund balance, those kinds of things. If you look at Fund 200, this is our debt service. And remember I told you that we had $1.19 million that we still had in bonds that we have to pay off at the end of 2027. This is showing you that we're at about close to $285,000 pocketed, holding on to so that we can have money to pay. At this rate, we're going to need, there's another $900,000 we have to prepare for, so we're going to need to give about $180,000 to $190,000 a year, every year, to help build that up, so when it comes due, we can pay it off. The next fund is capital outlay. That's where the new gym floor is going to have to come out of. And
Is that not covered by insurance?
it is covered by insurance. But we don't know how much they're going to cover. There's an estimate that's
You
going
gotta
to be
outlay the
coming.
money and then try to get it back.
Right.
I got you.
And you know how that is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so when we look at that, we're pretty good shape on our capital outlay because we've been able to use a lot of the ESSER money for the air conditioning units and things that we would normally have to replace. So we're in pretty good shape, but we still want to keep as much as we can protected. In the next page, food service. It's looking like they're going to end up with around $330,000, which we like because We get a lot of good out of that community eligibility provision, where we are able to feed the students free lunch and free breakfast every day. So that's been a benefit to us, and we're hoping that we can pull that off. Probably a little bit of that savings is coming from the fact that we've had a lot of food service workers in and out this past year. So we have a lot of the employment costs that are in that, or lack of employment costs. The next page is 4,200. That is all of your title grants, your entitlements that are coming from the state, Title I, Title II, Title III, 4, 5, 6, 9. And then your smaller grants like Carl Perkins and IDEA are in there as well. You have about 41% of the money in, and you've spent about 44%. This is something we're looking at closely, because that balance at this time of the year should be a little bit higher. We should be spending more of that money. So we're working with the program office to make sure we get those funds out. Then in the next one, we're starting to get into the ESSER money. Remember, there's 6 pots. 441 and 442 are the first round of ESSER, ESSER 1. The big pot, the little pot. 443, 444 are the second round of ESSER, which was called Coronavirus Relief Rescue Plan, CRRSA. And the 445, 446 is the big and little pots of the ARP money, the American Rescue Plan. So you're going to see 6 different grant funds here. And what we're looking at, the first one, 4410, we're pretty much got most of that spent. And what that is winding out what we had received in 2020. And most of it came due this year in 2022 that closed the grants out. So there's not a lot there. We've got some money in transition. In the 441, the second part of the first ESSER grant, we're pretty close to revenues and expenses being equal, 61,000 versus 65,000. The difference is being in transition. We've been requested the money. That's a lot of these small grants. If you've noticed, and I'm not sure if you have or not, but we are getting bombarded, it seems almost daily, with little pocket grants, 100 here, 50 here, 25 here. And we're getting that from the state so that they're coming up with these small projects. And right now, we just got 2 or 3 little ones that came in this last couple weeks, and all of them are due in July. So they're over in July, but they're asking us to apply for them now and hoping we can use them before July. So you're going to see a lot of small projects in that 4430 coming up. Then in the 440, that's the smaller part of the ESSER 2 money. And we have 3 projects. We just got into about 274,000. We don't have any budget in there yet. We're trying to get the budget in there. But we haven't had any expenses in that fund on the 440s. In the 445s, this is your new ESSER money, the ARP money. And we don't have the budget in there yet because we still have to get part of it amended with the Department of Education. So that's the one that's coming in at around $9 million. Right now, to date, we've spent about $240,000 of that money. The AC conditioners you just approved are going to be a part of that money. And then we have a couple of small ARPs that came through already. One for pre-K and one for pre-K to 3 tutoring. So we're working on those. Those are smaller grants. One is 8,000, one's about 120,000. We're trying to get these budgets in, but we keep waiting for the awards, and then it seems like we have to make amendments, so we're trying to get the budgets in as quick as we can. Questions?
Does anyone have a question?
I must be doing a stellar job.
You're just doing wonderful, Miss Rose. We appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you.
Just keep fertilizing that money tree, all right?
And watering it too.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the monthly financials?
I made the motion to approve the monthly financial.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, show a hand, please, for approval. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the monthly financials. 5.7, the Florida School Board Association membership is for the next year, $9,065 for the board's membership in it.
Okay, one reason I put this on, I do need your approval, but if you look at the second sheet, it says that the annual dues should an individual board member wish to invoke 617.221 and 2 Florida statute, please adjust invoice accordingly. And basically, membership in this organization is voluntary. We've never brought it to you before. So, and I know it's kind of strange because new members come on the board in November, but they want the bill in December. So right now, I just want to know, does all of you want to remain a member of this organization?
I do, because I think it prepares school board members for what they need to know. I mean, I've gotten a good education, I think, through them.
It's real important for when things go bad.
But you do have a choice whether, I don't want you to think I was pushing it down your throat.
No. And I think it would be, if there's no board members, that it would be valuable to them.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the continued membership in the Florida School Board Association?
I move to approve the FSBA membership.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor of continued Florida School Board Association membership, show a hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. 5.8, instructional material adoption.
Okay, Ms. Hill had to leave, but at last week's meeting, we had the public hearing on the proposed math adoption for the next 5 years. And at this time, she's asking for a vote of approval, vote whether we're going to approve to go with this series or not.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the Envision Florida for the series?
I move to approve.
This is Savas Learning.
Savas.
It's the Savas Learning, and it's for all K through 12.
I move to approve instructional materials.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion?
I'm just going to say what I think I mentioned the last time. I think I like the continuity of this. In other words, we're using the same materials from K through 12. So I think that's going to be a benefit.
I think there was a little confusion. I received an email from someone in the community where I think he may have misunderstood that teachers were choosing what they wanted to do. And I just want to clarify that. For elementary, it was Eureka, K through 5, and then 6 through 8 was another program, and 9 through 12 was another. And what we're saying is about this program is K through 12 from the same publisher, the same company. I don't want people in the community to be thinking that each teacher were doing their own thing, because that's not so.
No.
The elementary was with Eureka, middle was with a certain program, and high school was with another program. What we're saying is that from kindergarten through 12th grade, it will be the same company where we're getting the textbooks from. So hopefully it'll be a better continuity and alignment, and it's with the best standards in the state.
I was gonna say, I don't think teachers have ever had the luxury of choosing what they
This-
want to
it-
teach.
Yeah, this person maybe thought that. That's what it appeared from the email that I was sent, but I just wanted to clarify that to the public, that that's not the case if any other people may have thought that.
And this does not preclude the schools or teachers from using other materials for Tier 2 instruction, but this is your basic Tier 1 instructions.
Right. Right. Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Ms. Bell. If there's no more discussion, all those in favor of the instructional material adoption, please show a hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the instructional material adoption. Okay, 5.9, the student progression plan, the public hearing for it.
Okay, again, this information has been put out there for the public to examine, and at this time, she's asking for a public hearing. If anyone have any comments or questions about the pupil progression plan.
Okay, at this time, I will open it for a public hearing. If anyone has any comments or concerns concerning the pupil progression plan. If there's no comments or concerns, this is through 2021 through 2023, and I feel sure that at any time during that time, if the board has some concerns, they could readdress it. They could bring it back up to relook at it if you had concerns over an issue. Okay, at this point, we will close it for public hearing. If no one has anything to say concerning the pupil progression plan. Okay. So, Mr. Attorney, will we advertise or can we vote on it since it's
I think it's to vote tonight.
to vote? Okay. At this time, is there a motion to approve the pupil progression plan?
I'll make the motion to approve the pupil progression plan.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor, show a hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the pupil progression plan. Okay, the next item, 5.10, the permission to advertise for benefits specialist. Ms. Joseph?
Mr. Chair, at present, Kathy Smith is our benefits specialist, and she is scheduled to retire on May 31st. And we would like to, and she has submitted her retirement letter. And so we would like to advertise and fill that position, so the person will have at least a month time, transition time, to work with her. So I'm asking for permission to advertise that position and hire someone and while she's still here.
Okay, is there any discussion concerning this?
I think it's a good idea.
I do too. There's a lot to learn in that
Yeah,
job, and
there's-
somebody needs to, to get in there with her while she's still here to get that off the ground when it affects a lot of people's life insurance.
Okay, is there a motion to advertise for the permission to advertise?
I'll make the motion for permission to advertise benefits specialist.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? This is out of the general fund.
Yes, that's the general fund.
There's no discussion. All those in favor, show a hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. Okay, 5.11, staff and allocation plan.
Okay, Mr. Chair and the rest of the board, I bring the staff allocation plan back to you. We discussed it thoroughly last time, and I wanted you to have time to think about and have any additional questions. I did bring it before my district admin team, and we made one adjustment in that one of the secretaries, the Title I secretary, was omitted, and so that's the only adjustment that I have made. I've added that position back to the district staffing table. So do we have any other questions or concerns about?
I have a question, and looking
Yes.
at it, for Central.
Yes.
Does that include their dean? I mean, with this, you're having two principals, which would be two principals, and then 3 APs. So does that include a dean or not, or the dean included in the APs?
The dean is included in the APs. Now, if they get any special UNICEF money or other than that, we may put a dean, but out of the general fund, we are not including a separate dean.
So the APs,
Yes,
the 2 APs on the pre-K side,
Yes.
the APs will be having to handle probably some discipline.
yes, they will. That's, you gotta give up something to get something, and
Right.
that was one of the trade-offs we were doing. So it wouldn't cost any more than what we were spending presently.
Currently, we have 3 APs at the school,
Yes,
plus we have a dean,
we have 2 deans.
2 deans, and 3 APs. Okay. Now, that was a concern from someone who had posted it to me. I mean, had expressed a concern to me concerning, and that, I mean, that does make sense to do away with 2 deans if you're gonna have 3. Actually, 5 administrators there. And again, I would caution the higher-ups to be looking at people who may retire if we truly need to replace them, if it's a position where, of course, teachers and parapros and lunchroom workers would be, but in some of these other support roles that you could streamline the work to other departments. We probably really should be encouraged to look at it and save it if it comes out of the general fund. If someone's retiring, where you don't have to, where it would save money. And I know there's a lot of support staff at Central, but as people are retiring, that should be looked at to see, especially based upon the numbers are down. I mean, the numbers would be currently the lowest the school's ever been at, to basically still have the same amount of infrastructure of support that we have.
And Bart, when it opened up, it was 1,700 students.
Yes,
And now
it's
we're
there.
less than 1,000.
This next year it's gonna be around 700, the
So,
projections,
well,
isn't
yes,
it?
that's way less than 1,000, let's say.
So, I mean, that's just something to,
And I don't think we should just base it on retirement. I think we need to base it on what's the numbers.
and that maybe is, something that maybe like the finance department here needs to look at. I mean, I don't know the day in out workings of the school before we go fill in this other benefits specialist. If we see that a position here, if someone could transfer into that, because I don't know that a school that size, when it opened, it had all these different office people. I mean, that's a lot of office people. And again, I still think it's going back to the 1,700 that it had back in the day, where where you have a bookkeeper and a secretary. I know that that's important, but I just don't know for 700 kids. I don't know. That would be a question that the finance department would need to, like with their duties, and do you think it's warranted to have both there? I mean, I don't know, but just to save us from having to at some point, because times are gonna get hard in October, we're gonna have to do $15 an hour.
That's gonna be tough.
$2.3 million over 4 years.
So, I mean, that's a lot of money that's gonna be coming from somewhere that, I just don't want the next board to be in the predicament that we were in, having to cut people and go through that, because it's quite traumatic for both us and the workers to have to do that.
Well-
And again, if it can be done on the front end where you don't have to do it on the back end, it's, it would be better for the district and for everyone involved. But that's just something to keep in the back of our minds, because again, the school population is much lower, and we don't really know what our numbers are going to settle out with, who may be staying or going with students. I mean, hopefully we'll look at an increase come August, but you just don't know. I mean, historically, we've had decline in enrollment the past 15 years, 20 years, and I don't see this next year us having an upsurge of 100 extra kids in the district. So it's just something.
At least 100.
Do what now?
I said we're projecting down about 100.
And that would be close to $700,000, $800,000.
Yep.
So again, I just caution people for the board members to really think about it, and I just don't know what to say about it, other than I caution you. I do think that, I mean, we obviously need to do something at Central to try to improve academic performance and behavior. But at the same time, we have to look at the infrastructure of the school, of how many positions you have, to make sure we're trying to be as efficient as we can.
Should we think about having a workshop on this? Because it's one thing to talk about it, but I'm wondering, and I can hear what you're saying, but I'm thinking, is it just, should we take a look at it? I mean, it's...
Well,
How many of these positions are going to be paid out the URSA money?
Sorry.
How many positions, how many of these, is this, all these are coming out of general funds?
If they have an asterisk, they will be probably paid out of,
Okay.
if you look at them
Yes, ma'am, I see it.
all the way through, the asterisk tells you basically, those are URSA funded.
And there's not a lot of asterisks.
I would, I hear what you're saying, Ms. Gibson. I would like to, I do think it's worth looking at for the ones who are, if you have people retiring, to where if you maybe were to cut a position somewhere to maybe swap people around, if you have someone in the district who could do the insurance for a transfer in, but I mean, we do need to establish the principles to start with, so Ms. Joseph can fill those, because I think by April the 1st, or when do you reappoint for administration?
It's not a time limit on that, but if you want to have a well thought out, a well planned system, you need to do it as soon as possible. But you don't rush and do it hastily. It needs to be done with thought.
I mean, again, we know that, I would think your outline schools are on a skeleton anyway, and all the schools are going to have an administration team. I think where the issue may be is at Central, or maybe the high school, looking at what they have, and especially with the multiple parts of the business aspect of it. I mean, that's the thing that's a little, and again, that would be coming from your department, not as a board member. With the bookkeeper and secretary, I mean, how does that overlap? I thought that was...
The high school has less than 500 kids. They have a separate secretary and a separate
But the high
bookkeeper.
school deals in a lot of money.
The central school deals with a lot of money also.
Well, maybe it is, but I'm just saying at some point, based on the numbers, the next board, I'm going to be gone in November, but the next board is going to have to make some serious cuts, because I don't know how you're going, with the $15 an hour, sustain it. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And so I mean, you can either do it now or wait till next year to face the beast, but at some point, it's gonna be a beast for the next board to have to face this. And again, I would recommend you do it as people are retiring to see if you need to refill the position to keep from people having to lose their job and to do a layoff.
Well, do we have any retirees?
Well, we do.
We have been looking internally, trying to find someone to fill that position. I have been looking since December, before December, trying to find someone to transfer over to that position, and I have not been able to find anyone to transfer over to that position. And I do look internally first.
You mean when you look internally to transfer somebody, but from one position to another, or?
From a
or they gonna
position I
do-
could possibly cut.
I got you.
Okay, I have been looking for that, and it's not a position that I couldn't cut, and in some of the positions we are downsizing on. Even that position we're downsizing on, but I just have not been able to find anyone internally to do that position, that job, and that's something that needs to be filled.
We're downsizing salary-wise.
No, we're not downsizing salary-wise, we just said we're going up, but, for example, the person that mans the receptions at the high school, I don't know whether that's the right terminology, presently, she's 11 months, she's retiring, we're making that a 10-month position. Things like that, that's what we're doing. Any place you can cut a dime, that's what we're looking at. And that position was, a couple of superintendents back made it an administrative position, so we are, for that one, we're not downsizing the salary per se, but we're just putting it in line of what the duties are called for.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board? I mean, I do think we need to go ahead and do it where we can do the principals and all. It's just scary. It's scary for you all and knowing what's ahead.
Well, knowing what's ahead, like you mentioned, is $15 an hour, October 1st. I would rather do it before that happens.
But also knowing that we are going to be having the sixth graders stay out to the outlying schools, I think we need to give those principals time enough to plan for that, because that will be a new venture for them.
I think as time progresses, then we could make that decision. But as of right now, I think what you got here, we need to go on and approve it.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the staffing table?
I make the motion to approve the staffing table.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any further discussion?
I'd still like to have a workshop on this. I think we need to take a look at it. We can approve this, but
I mean, we can approve it and look at
it.
where, I mean, like, maybe next year where it needs to be cut. And just know going into it that next year, I mean, you'll have possibly more people retire next year, that this needs to be, because at some point, with declining enrollment, you're gonna have to make cuts, because you can't keep, I mean, maybe Ms. Rayneck says differently, but
I don't have a magic bottle.
I mean, as enrollment declines, the number of staff you have cannot stay the same. It has to decline also, just based on money and how it's all will work out. But
Generally, the employees cost you between 80 and 85% of your whole budget. And in much of our cases, we're up to 87 to 90%.
Is it written in stone that's exactly what's going to happen?
Pardon me?
Is it written in stone that that's exactly what's going to happen? Our students are going to decline.
Well,
They can decline.
It's
So
projected.
it's projection.
It's projected, but it ain't written in stone, right?
well, it's, the DOE is projecting that there's going to be an additional 25 students that are going to go to family scholarships, family empowerment scholarships. anticipating another 20 to 40 that will shift around in the charter schools, because that's what they did this year. And our enrollment, our pass-through is the money that we wave at when it comes in the door and we see it go out. That's been increasing every year. The FTE for that has been increasing every year. So we're up to about 750 of our 2,300 children, or 2,300 FTE, 750 of it is going right out the door. It comes in and goes right back out. So as long as those pass-throughs keep increasing and the numbers in the traditional public schools keep dropping, we're going to be in a serious situation where we're going to have to consider what we do moving forward. We won't be able to continue to survive. Once this federal money's gone,
It's
that
bad.
federal money's been floating, it's been a life preserver for us. So once that's gone, we're going to have to take a deep dive into it.
You still been working on what I talked to you about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
With that being said, we have a motion on the table by Ms. Bell, seconded by Mr. Carroll. We still can approve this and then come back with a workshop to see what we possibly could do. But I do think we need to do so Ms. Joseph can do with the administrators to get those situated based upon sixth graders and with what she has planned for Central to try to make that turnaround. Is there a motion, or we have the motion by Ms. Bell, seconded by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, show her. Do what?
Ben has his hand up.
I can wait till after, I just want to ask a question. That's all.
Concerning this?
Yes, sir.
Well, then ask it.
The only thing that I'm asking is the workshop that y'all please have it, say prior to December as we move forward for next year, because that's what you're looking at for next year. Because if not, that gets into the number of people when you do reappointments and all that other kind of stuff.
I'm sure the workshop would be after we see what our FTEs will be in August. We'll know the first day of school what we're down with FTE wise of how many are up. I mean, maybe it's up, but within the first month, we probably should have the workshop to see where we stand with the people coming back. I don't know that it should wait to December, but within the first month of school, I think we probably should have it to see like what the enrollment is and what we need to do to, maybe it'll be up enrollment and you'll have additional students, but if not, then you're gonna have to take appropriate measures. It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell, seconded by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, show of hand please for approval. 5 by Ms. Bishop for approval. 5.12, the waypoint expansion.
Okay, Mr. Chair, Ms. Nicole Miller, who is the lead education person at Waypoint, they are our DJJ charter facility. They're not DJJ, residential foster care charter facility. And she wants to talk with you about, the board, about possible expansion of their contract. I wasn't good at explaining this, I asked her to come and explain it to you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you guys for allowing me to speak today. As Ms. Joseph mentioned, I am Nicole Miller and I'm the Director of Education for Twin Oaks Juvenile Development. Since 2015, I've had the pleasure of working in Madison County Schools as a teacher, district staffing specialist, crisis intervention specialist, and now the Director of Education for Twin Oaks Juvenile Development, as well as Waypoint Charter. In my role, I've got to be a part of the team that has designed and implemented Waypoint Charter to ensure that we're providing the highest quality educational services for these kids who really need it most. Twin Oaks Juvenile Development was incorporated for the sole purpose of incorporating a quality continuum of care for our students, and for the past 20 years has been operating residential and community-based programs, as well as in Florida Juvenile Justice, as well as Department of Children and Families, and the Boys and Girls Club here in Madison County. Our experience has also included the operation of specialized schools to meet the acute needs of diverse populations academically and intellectually. We've developed an educational service delivery model that meets the individualized needs of each student using evidence-based practices in the least restrictive environment. We provided comprehensive educational services to males and females ranging across the ESE spectrum, from low-functioning ESE students to gifted and talented students as well, all within our small school communities. We provide academic and vocational services utilizing a vast array of instructional techniques delivered in an environment that connects curriculum to real-world application in life and social skills. That being said, I'm here today to speak to you guys about the expansion of Waypoint Charter Academy. We are looking to expand Waypoint Charter Academy to help serve the youth at BYA. BYA is a residential PRTF, which is a psychiatric residential treatment facility. So it's going to serve a similar need of student as ours at Waypoint Charter Academy. The acuity of kid as well as the intellectual functioning is going to be about similar. These students are referred to the program through different CBCs, school districts, as well as community partners looking to help ensure the right success for these students. So these students served at the 72-bed residential facility require 24-hour staff care, on-site education, recreation, case management, and mental health services, similar to the services we provide every day at Waypoint Charter Academy. The program is highly structured, trauma responsive, and a healthy therapeutic community that fosters personal growth for all of its students. If the board approves this expansion, it'd be our intention to provide the on-site educational services, just educational services with this site, to meet the varying needs of all learners through a blended learning model. We'll provide the 1,500-minute school week, staff with certified instructional personnel, on-site education coordinator, guardian, support professionals, as required to ensure the continuity of educational services. Furthermore, we'll provide vocational training and employability skills training through a grant we just received with the Jobs with Florida Graduates program, as well as a contract with HVAC. The expansion to this location will still fall closely within the pre-approved numbers in our Waypoint Charter Academy application, with the main difference is the educational services would be provided on an alternative site. We can't have these kids, population of kids won't be mixing. This program will follow the same guidelines and requirements as Waypoint Charter Academy currently does, and I would still serve as the Director of Education there. I know that some of you guys have had the chance to come out and see our programs and see what the Waypoint education difference is, but I can talk till I'm blue in the face about how great I think our school is, but we had a short video to just kind of highlight the services that we provide at our school and why we'd like to be able to provide this at BYA as well. And Isaac has done a good job of queuing it up for us.
Nicole Miller, and I'm the Director of Education for Twin Oaks Juvenile Development, and I am the Principal for Waypoint Charter Academy. We work with teenage boys in the foster care group home setting, and we provide education, mental health services, case management, recreation, all on site. We truly are an all-inclusive campus as well as a family here.
I was always in trouble. I wasn't the brightest kid. I didn't do well in school. I didn't do well at home either. I was always like, I guess you could say grounded.
When Damien first got here, he'll tell you that he did not want to be here. And it wasn't just that he didn't want to be here at Waypoint Residential, he just didn't want to be in care at all.
Like, I hated the world when I first got here, really. And then now it's just, I look forward to waking up in the morning. I look forward to being able to go and see the other kids, even though sometimes they're paying my butt. So day-to-day here at Waypoint, it's controlled chaos. I've seen things that, no kid should work. And it's definitely humbled and molded me into a better educator for them. I'm Marlon Gibbs. I'm a teacher here at Waypoint Charter Academy.
My name is William Oliver, and I'm from Syracuse.
Oliver is one of our newer residents here at Waypoint. Him and Damien have actually formed a great friendship in which Damien is actually mentoring him.
I've been here for 4 months now, and it's really awesome. The staff treat you like your family, and we have a lot of fun activities. I'd say Monday through Friday, we wake up at around 7, we go to school. Then at around 11, we go outside for PE and we play basketball, kickball, football, all around sports.
Day to day, we play basketball a lot. The food is good.
The food is great.
Incredible food here.
Hot dogs, like ribs.
Every day something new.
Sometimes even steak.
Okay, so here at Waypoint, they do have DOT where they can go and make money. They also are able to spend their money.
We go to the mall, we go roller skating, even Disney World.
It's good being here because people care about me here and they want to help me here, and not every other place is like that.
We really want to make sure that all of our students feel comfortable and like a family when they come here to us. Here, each kid gets their own room that you can decorate how you want, from posters to your own shoes to bedding. We celebrate every holiday. We celebrate their victories, their accomplishments. Just last week, we had our first graduating class of Waypoint Charter. We had 2 students graduate for our first years of school, and that was a huge accomplishment. Some of these kids have never had success in the traditional academic setting, and to see how far they've come in their time here was not just great for us as educators, but also for them.
This is my Waypoint family, and I'm proud to call them my family.
If you're considering to go to this place, come.
Thank you guys for watching that and hearing me. I appreciate it. We really just wanted to share the Twin Oaks and specifically the Waypoint education difference that we're trying to instill in our youth every single day, particularly when you're working with youth who have had such transient educational and life experiences. The typical school student will come to us in any of our residential facilities at least 3 years behind their academic cohort. And so couple that with the behavioral and mental health conditions that they are dealing with, we really feel as though we could be a solution and help ensure that these youth are provided the highest quality of education as well as continuity of educational services. We also offer on-the-job training, credit retrieval options, and we're a GED and diploma credit-bearing school site. Twin Oaks Juvenile Development is also SACS accredited as well. And we really are looking to come into this partnership as something that would be both advantageous to the district, Youth Opportunity, which is the agency that is running the residential component, as well as Twin Oaks as a whole. I definitely would love any questions you guys have, or if there's anything I can't answer, I will relay back to my supervisors and
I've got a
report
question.
that. Please.
You mentioned expansion.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
now, we didn't receive any information about this up until just now. So we haven't had a chance to, read it over or anything like that. Then you mentioned BYA. Are you expanding with another program? Is that what you're saying?
Right, so we're looking to expand our charter to the other program.
Or to bring in another program?
Right.
Yeah, that's the only thing. We didn't get information on this before tonight.
Okay.
So it's, before we make a decision, we really need to, or at least I like to look at it and read over it and all this. I'm sure the board members
What's
do.
the BYA, what's the acronym
The
for?
Brooksville Youth Academy.
What?
Brooksville Youth Academy.
Okay, so what type of kids are those?
It's a PRTF, so it's a psychiatric residential treatment facility. So it's going to be those kids who might be in like what's called a SIT placement or a high-level program. It's not a DJJ program. These are kids that just need an intensive amount of mental health supports in order to be successful. And they're referred to us by a variety of different entities, including school districts, CDCs, insurance companies.
How does the unaccompanied youth fit in here?
They do not. That's a completely separate site. Our unaccompanied children program is housed completely separate from our traditional, or from our Waypoint North campus. They're not allowed to intermix.
So where were these kids that you're talking about annexing into, expanding with, where are they gonna be housed?
Remember, this was in Brooksville.
Okay, so so we're gonna be remotely working with another site?
But yeah, it's going to be the blended learning model that we talked about. So we provide all the on-site education. We spoke with the charter school office. You don't need to actually be a contiguous school district in order to provide the services for that county, for the schools there. Youth Opportunity is an agency that doesn't run their own schools, and that's why they approached Twin Oaks to help in this project.
So we would be like the sub?
Yeah, I'm not getting it yet.
Yeah,
So we're gonna amend the present charter contract to provide for, that covered under that charter contract would be a site outside of Madison County?
Right, and so when we reached out to the charter school office, they told us we could do that as a virtual provider, because we use Edgenuity as our primary service delivery model. But rather than just have the kids as a virtual model just on the computer, because we know that's not effective, particularly for the type of kids that we serve, we'd be providing the actual certified teachers as well, because we want these kids to achieve.
But even though those kids aren't physically in Madison County, we're gonna get the FTE
Yes.
in Madison that we can pass through to you?
Yes, and the district would maintain the their share of those funds as
5%
well.
or whatever, okay.
So it would be increasing 72 beds to the school district as well.
We're gonna be getting FTE for the students here.
Correct.
Brooksville will not be supporting those students, right?
The FTE for those students would be through here as well.
Coming here, they would be passing through to the church.
Correct. But you guys would still get your categoricals and the percentage as well.
How-
We try. I'm trying. I know.
When, I just have some questions concerning if something were to, like, I know in the past, the county office would have to go out to Greenville Hills or Waypoint. I'm back in the days of Greenville Hills,
Yes.
but to monitor what's going on, how would we monitor that in Brooksville?
That was me.
That's right.
That was actually that was a position that I had with the school district as an ESC staffing specialist. I was on site with that program. So the person that we actually are looking to hire as well, he's come on board, he works for Youth Opportunity at the moment. He's looking to come on education specifically. He is one of the regional coordinators for Department of Juvenile Justice, and he's right under Julie Orange in the Department of Education for Juvenile Justice. So he has vast experience operating residential facilities and specifically alternative populations, and all of that comes with that.
Yeah, but I guess the question is though, but with other charter schools, our staff have physically gone to the campus and looked at things, whereas that's not going to be very convenient if they're in Hernando County. So I think that's one of the questions.
I mean,
right?
and if something were to go wrong, if educational wise, if not saying this could happen, if something wasn't being provided and you have a big suit that came about and we're suddenly drug into something that we've never even laid eyes on before, at least with you here, people from the county office can go out to the campus to make sure that things are going like they should be going.
Right.
And that just makes me a little uneasy with it that far away, and not saying that it wouldn't be, but.
Have other districts done it this way? Where they?
It has happened. That's how this came up. They proposed it to us through our work with Florida Juvenile Justice Association.
Could you maybe give us some of those other districts? Because I think that would be the next step is why don't we talk to some of those other districts and see how they've done it and if it's worked out well for them.
And with DOE, I'm not saying what you're saying is not,
Yeah.
but I would like an official written statement from DOE stating that this can be done. I just.
So what seems odd to me is usually the FTE follows the bodies. And these kids are going to be located in Hernando County, I assume, and then Brooksville?
Yes.
So they're going to be located in Hernando County, but that money's going to come up here, run through our district, and come back to you, which just seems odd to me. I'm not saying that's not the way it is and that's not proper, but that just seems odd.
I can provide that in writing. Would you like me to send it to Ms. Joseph, or how would you best? Okay.
So these are,
So when this project was coming on board, it was about 2 weeks before the charter school deadline application came out. And then also they're a for-profit, not a not-for-profit with their agency, which is why they came to Twin Oaks.
say that again?
They're a YOI, Youth Opportunity Investment, which is the agency that runs the residential, is actually a for-profit, and we are a non-profit, which plays into their.
For-profit can't get a charter.
Because I thought charters could be approved at any time at this point.
I think you are, I think the district is free to approve them.
Yeah,
But the statutes require that the applicant to make application at certain times, that if the district doesn't want to play ball and the applicant hasn't met those statutory timeframes, the district's free to say, no, we're not going to approve it, apply next year. But you're allowed to approve them at any time if the district wants to.
Another question, did you say the curriculum would be totally virtual, or would be combination virtual as well as face-to-face?
It'd be similar to what we do at our site currently. Edgenuity is the primary service delivery model for our 6th through 12th graders. We use unique learning curriculum as well as supplemental district-approved curriculums for our access point students.
No, the reason I'm asking you that is that with virtual classes, you only fund it after successful completion of the courses. And I'm looking at,
we're not making that mistake. We're going to do the blended learning model intentionally, and we're providing the on-site educators because it's not successful.
I just know how much funds and where we are with someone just going totally virtual.
Oh, yeah, we
And I
wouldn't
know
do
where
that.
the money's coming or not coming.
We would never do that.
So you were saying the students, 75 students of this program would be students who have psychiatric issues?
Intense mental health overlay issues as well as exceptionalities as well. So we're looking at 252, 253, some 254 students, in addition to your typical students. But the primary student will have an IEP or a 504 plan.
So for payment of this program would be the school districts and insurance and Medicaid? Is that who would pay for that? I mean,
Are you speaking specifically the residential component?
yeah.
So I pulled that up because that's not quite in my purview because I'm the director. I'm just specifically with the education department. So they accept referrals and from both in and out of state are reviewed by the facilities treatment team for admission. The funding will come, but is not limited to state and local service agencies, state Medicaid agencies, commercial and managed care insurance companies, and school districts. Fees are discussed with the referral source as well as insurance providers. And then they have a contractual agreement between the different placing agencies.
But it's not court appointed.
No, it might not necessarily. There may be an option where a student is told like receive help or go to a DJJ program, but it's not common practice. This is not a DJJ program. These kids are not adjudicated to be there.
Again, as a charter, we wouldn't be handling any of that.
Correct, that is all.
And so your group, though, is going to have humans in the
Full-time
facility in Hernando County teaching. It's
Yes.
not they're not sitting in Greenville talking to these kids on a computer screen. They're sitting in Hernando County.
Correct. We currently have one person who's the person we intend, if the district were to approve it, who the agency has already hired on to do that.
I can't speak for the other board members, but I would like some clarification first with DOE concerning what, if this is
allowable.
If this is allowable, because I don't want us to get in a situation to where we're in trouble over something that's not even in Madison County, if that makes sense. I mean.
Yes, sir.
And I've heard of this before with virtual schools, where you would have one district, and that one district would have a virtual charter, and that virtual charter can obviously serve children anywhere, right? But I don't know that I've ever heard of one where the students are physically in County 1, but County 2 is doing the charter, and so that money's having to come here and then go back.
When we spoke to both Adam Emerson as well as, so her name just slipped, from the virtual school specifically, we had mentioned the desire to do blended learning, that they said that could be accomplished that way. But I can provide both a letter from DOE as well as
a letter from
ongoing
DOE would
communication.
help a lot.
Yeah.
And some schools that's doing it.
Some other districts that are doing that.
No problem.
But I mean, if the children, if they're not located in Madison, I don't know I mean, I don't really know the downside other than, like you say, if limited our supervisory role, which is very limited with charter schools anyway, right? I mean,
I don't know how often, yeah.
What's required that we monitor?
it is.
Right.
I mean,
And I think most of that has been accomplished from a desktop monitoring perspective. But I mean, we definitely have open doors if anyone would ever like to come to any of our facilities, please do. We actually would love it,
Well,
so please,
yeah.
but.
And I don't think that's the question, it's how often are we actually gonna drive down to Brooksville?
Oh, we
You know
can
what I mean?
carpool, y'all.
And who's going to drive down the Brooksville?
Right.
Oh, I got a nice new car, guys, y'all, we can
Yeah.
pop in the Bronco, no problem.
But we appreciate you coming today. I guess the next step is just receiving this other information so we can have maybe a better idea of what we're looking at. Now, what department with DOE did you speak with?
Adam Emerson, and then the virtual charter school office as well.
Adam Emerson is kind of the.
He's a charter
the dog in the charter.
Emerson, E-M-E-R-S-O-N.
Yeah.
And then
Independent schools.
Okay. Well, thank you for tonight. I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
we can't make a decision tonight, but I just,
And when are you looking for a decision? When do you need that?
when is your next school board meeting?
Right, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to actually have a charter, and that charter's gonna have to be, a written out charter's got to be amended. They can't just
Right.
amend it in concept. So
Right.
are you guys gonna propose one, or do you want us to propose one, or what do you?
We can amend it before.
Because we need a document called an amended charter, and probably the best way to figure that out is to get one of the districts that's already done this and see how they amended their charter, because it's going to take some special language in there to say, you know, hey, the site's going to be located in another district, we're going to receive FTE, and I mean, obviously we have to would have to have something in there that if something happened to the FTE, now, you know, we're expected to pass through, but if we don't get it to begin with, obviously we can't pass it through. But I think that's another good reason to talk about the districts.
Absolutely.
what, just one more question. What again is the name of the company that, you said the for-profit company, what's the name of that?
Youth Opportunity Investments.
Youth Opportunity?
They run several juvenile justice, PRTF, and other type of alternative residential settings. They're actually one of the largest national providers.
Well, where are they out of?
Their corporate office is in St. Pete.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item, 6.1, superintendent items.
Mr. Chair, a couple of things. First, I would like to congratulate the students that participated in the science fair this past week. We had several winners, but Ms. Phillips took a group down there for a couple of days, and they had a nice time. And also, I'd like to thank Jason Fletcher and his other sponsors. The high school just went to grad night, and it was a successful trip. And one of the restaurants sent him a little note of thank you for the kids being on their best behavior. We rarely get that, especially from seniors. Also, Mr. Reeves, you want to talk with them about the date for the impasse?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up now.
Okay, I'll let you talk about that. Also, at your desk is a letter from Mr. Kenneth Rozier. The bottom line behind that is that if you are an employee of any district or anything, you cannot get a W-2 and a 1099 during your employment. It cannot be for the same time frame. Okay, you cannot be a contract worker and a regular salaried worker in your place of employment. That's the bottom line behind this. And that's all I need to say. He'll talk to you about impasse.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Joseph. The next item, Mr. Reeves.
A couple of things on now we pulled 5.1, which is the easement for the city. So y'all had approved that last time. So by pulling it, you're intending for staff to go ahead and give them the signed easement and all that?
Yes, sir, I am.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, I just want to clarify that. I had sent an email out to everybody. We got a couple of things with the impasse hearing. It was set up for April 7, or this Thursday. We've got to reschedule that because of one of the participants had a serious personal issue. We've got to reschedule it, and April 18 is our regular board meeting, and that seems like the date that we can, is most, looks like it's presenting itself as the most logical date to have that impasse hearing. My advice is, having sat here through the last impasse hearing, is you probably don't want to do that and also have your regular board meeting on that day, because impasse hearings are, well, for a couple of reasons. First off, everybody who shows up to the impasse hearing is going to be very highly emotional, and whatever you try to do at your regular meeting, they're going to react, and it's just not a good, it's not a good thing. We could have the impasse hearing later, but Ms. Raynack has a long scheduled trip planned that she's already bought plane tickets for and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, she can't adjust that. And of course, when you talk about an impasse with the union, you talk about money. And so you got to have Ms. Raynack there to talk about the money. I mean, that's just no good way to do that without her there.
I can't do it from Albuquerque.
And you can't do it from so what Leonard Dietzen and I had talked this over, and one of the things that he suggested was maybe let's do the impasse hearing on the 18th, which is our regular board meeting, which Ms. Raynack would be here and available for, and then reschedule that regular meeting to later in the week, like maybe do it that Wednesday or Thursday of that week.
I'm gonna be out of town that week.
And yeah, so, or we could do it Tuesday of that week, or we could do it whenever y'all wanted to do it on that week. But I think the Monday is what I would recommend for the impasse hearing, and then whatever other day that week that y'all can do the school board meeting, if that meets with the pleasure of the board.
Tuesday will be fine, but I'm out of town Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
All right.
Tuesday's good with me because I have FISBIT meetings on Wednesday through
So we
Friday.
were going to do the impasse on the 18th and Tuesday the board meeting?
It's good
Is
with
that
me.
what you were-
Tuesday the 19th will be the board meeting. Does that work, Madam Secretary?
That'll work with me.
All right. And
I'm
so-
good, I'm good anytime.
So we're going to have to get that in the paper, and so we'll have to get that out and, for Friday's paper, which will be in time for them.
And I'm still, I'm having to correspond with Suzanne Pridgeon, who is the deputy person up there, about our impasse status.
All right, so if it's okay with the board, I'm going to go ahead and we'll get a notice out in the paper that says the impasse hearing is going to be the 18th at 6 p.m. Our regular meeting is going to be the 19th at 6 p.m. So,
I know in your,
I got it.
I know in your, you had made mention of the venue.
Well, that's right, but let's do date first. The date's okay, what I just said? All right. So issue number 2 is where do you want to hold it? Now, generally, with impasse hearings, impasse is dealing with collective bargaining. Collective bargaining, the entity over collective bargaining is called PERC, the Public Employee Relations Commission. They have various administrative rules and statutes and all that. PERC's guidance is we are required to have the impasse hearing at a venue that we believe can reasonably accommodate the number of people we expect to show up. If you know 1,000 people are coming, you can't hold it in a closet, right? You gotta have a venue big enough. Now, Leonard has told me that he anticipates there will be a fair number of people here. Now, there's no way to know how many, but he had some concerns because, as you can see with our board chambers here, what do we have, 20 or 30? Yeah, 20, 30 chairs, right? My recommendation would be on that 18th meeting, I think we probably need to move that to somewhere that's a little bigger. We were talking about where. Certainly, this is school board. I mean, y'all have access to the cafeterias or at any of the schools. One of the places I had thought about was maybe the courtroom in the main courthouse, because that's kind of set up for hearings. You know, you've got the tables up front, the tables beyond the bar that can be set up, and then you've got all the chairs and everything kind of going up like that away from it. But it's up to y'all. We can do it however you want. So,
What would we have to do to be able to use the courtroom?
I talked to the clerk briefly and just, hey, how you doing? Do you think we could use the courthouse? And he said, yeah, he did not see an issue with that. But now I haven't given him an exact date. I haven't given him all of that. So I think if y'all want to do that, y'all would just tell me, hey, try to work that out with the clerk. If you can't, then we'll set it for a cafeteria at one of the schools or the high school or somewhere.
I would rather do it at the courthouse than the school.
Courthouse is good with me.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll
How
talk.
did, Ms. Williamson, how do you
Yeah, the
feel?
courthouse, I think the courthouse.
Mr. Carroll,
I'm good with that.
Ms. Bell?
Okay. And so we'll go ahead and I'll talk to the clerk tomorrow and to set it at the courthouse. Of course, I got to talk to him before I can do the notice, because the notice has got to say
I think that would be adequate room, seats for people.
I think it would. I mean, the last time we had an impasse, this place was packed, but it certainly, the courtroom would have had enough people to accommodate it.
And that, if you remember, wasn't just an impasse. We had a lot of other
Well,
things
we had a
going
board
on.
meeting, and yeah, there were other
Other
issues.
issues that brought in people, so.
All right.
What time?
And, 6 p.m. is what y'all have told me now. Tell me if we want to do it differently.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Now, the last thing is, on the impasse proceeding. In an impasse proceeding, you're acting like a judge. It's a quasi-judicial meeting and quasi-judicial proceeding, and you're deciding issues. So Mr. Dietzen is going to be presenting his side. The union's going to be presenting their side. They will call witnesses. They will present documents or whatever, however they want to do it. And then you all will make a decision as to what is best for both the employees and the district and and all that. You are not required at quasi-judicial meetings to allow public comment. So, normally in our agenda, we always have a public comment section. Anybody who wants can show up and they can talk about, they get their 3 minutes and they go on. Now, and we've done that forever, and we used to, it was kind of one of those things that we just did because, the board was nice and y'all did it. But then not too many years ago, the Florida legislature passed a statute that required that. That statute, though, has an exception for quasi-judicial hearings. So you are not required to do that for quasi-judicial hearings, but you are certainly allowed to do that if you would like to do that. So that makes it, it's not a legal decision. I can't say legally you must do it this way or you must do it that way. It's a policy decision on what you want to do. So my only recommendation that I would say is if people show up and want to speak and they are told they can't speak, sometimes that makes a bigger commotion than if you had just given them each one of them their 3 minutes and let them speak. That's what you have to think about. I think in my experience, it almost always works out that you ended up, if you try not to let the public speak, you end up wishing you just give everybody the 3 minutes. I mean, it just ends up that that's going to be easier at some point. But that's up to y'all how you want to handle it.
If 100 people show up to speak 3 minutes apiece, that's 300 minutes. Is there any kind of limit on how long this would last? You could last, 5 hours, 2 hours?
There's not a real good way to do that. Are you allowed to sit there until, they run you out the next day at 8 a.m. because court's starting? No, you're not required to do that. But now the problem is how do you pick the ones that get to speak and the ones that don't, right? If you have 100 people actually show up, it's very rare that all 100 want to stand up and get their 3 minutes. That's not been my experience, but can I promise you that? No. There's no absolute right or absolute wrong answer. My inclination is to give everybody the 3 minutes and let them roll because it just always seems to work out that if you try not to let people talk, you end up wishing you had because you'd have gotten out there quicker if you just let everybody have the 3 minutes. And but that's up to y'all. But we probably do need to kind of know that ahead of time so that we can tell people and they know what to expect.
So their side will make their presentation and our side.
So yes. So each side will make a presentation, and during that presentation they'll call witnesses. They're allowed to call witnesses to present documents, all of that sort of stuff, and basically present it as they wish. And that has nothing to do with public comment. So let's say we have or do not have public comment. what Mr. Dietzen for the district or what the union may present doesn't change. They can still present whatever they want. So, because it's quasi-judicial, it's like a judicial proceeding. You know, the parties get to present what they want to present. This issue is just, do y'all want to have public comment?
And do they sign up for public comment or?
Yeah, we can do it. We do it the same way we do it here, and just have them sign up, and you know, and then give their public comment if that's what y'all want to do.
Okay, what does the board feel?
Well, I think you need to let them have the time, because if you don't, then it's gonna be, just like you said, we'll wish we had. But
Right.
now I do think they have to sign up, and if you didn't sign up, then you don't get to.
Yes.
That's me.
And I think when we say 3 minutes, because I've seen it in here,
Yeah.
it's got to be 3 minutes.
Well-
And I don't want.
Can you say 2 minutes? Or does it
I
have to be
can
3?
say a lot in 2 minutes.
No, I know, I can too.
You can, that's totally up to the board. But let me, and I do, let me just throw this out. Most of the time, when people exceed their 3 minutes, it's not because they talked for more than 3 minutes, it's because they said something and then somebody on this side of the table decided they wanted to respond, and now they responded, now we responded, and that turned into 6 or 7 minutes, okay? If you all sit there and they get up and say their 3 minutes and you say, thank you so much for your comments, we'll certainly consider them, goodbye.
Yeah.
If you do that and let them sit down, now it's much easier to get through 3 minutes. But now if one of y'all gets offended by something they say and you got to respond and now they respond and.
You checking in on their time, so they
Yeah.
say they want 3 minutes, but you talk half of it.
So I heartily recommend give them their 3 minutes. At 3 minutes, you say, thank you so much for your comments. We will certainly consider them. And let them sit down. And I don't, but yes, you do need a timer, I would think, and you do need to 3 minutes and not 3 minutes and a second, but 3 minutes, they need to sit on down.
So during this impasse, you will be handling it, or will I have to?
Well, and y'all can decide how you would like to do that. If you would like me to preside, I'll be happy to. Because what's going to happen is Mr. Dietzen will represent our side and the union will represent the other, and then you can let me kind of be a special magistrate for that, or special master, however you want to say it, just to handle the evidentiary part of it. And then once that is closed and once they've closed their, rested their cases, then we turn it back over to you and y'all discuss it, decide what you want to do.
No, I would like that. I would like for you to do that. And so I would just handle the public input and then the vote.
Yeah. Okay, so are we to tell them there will be public comment allowed, or what do y'all want me to do?
I mean, I haven't backed down to it yet.
All right. Like I said, there's no guarantees on either side. There's no absolutely right answer, but in my experience, you tend to wish you had if you try to not give them public comment. And then, okay, I think that's all my questions.
So in summation, this will be, the impasse hearing will be 4/18 at 6 o'clock at the courthouse, courtroom, and our regular board meeting will be on Tuesday, 4/19 at 6 o'clock here in this boardroom.
That's correct. And now if for some reason the courthouse were unavailable on the 18th, we're going to probably end up moving it to like the high school cafeteria. I think would be the next place that could accommodate everybody.
We may need the gym instead. The high
the
school
gym,
cafeteria
yeah.
has a bad connotation.
Oh, okay. All right. I was there. I remember.
Court reporter, we will have a court reporter that night.
Super. That's what we need.
Okay.
That's what we need. And then we're going to have allow general comment. I'm sorry. We're going to allow the general public to comment at the before the quasi-judicial proceeding gets started.
So they would comment at the very beginning?
That's what I would do. And because usually what happens with public comment is it's not going to be necessarily all that relevant to what's presented. It's going to be, please support us, and that kind of thing.
And,
so let's get
and
that
at that
on
point, it'll be stated that after the public comment, no one else is speaking.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think it's also important because if somebody in public comment said something that one of the parties wanted to address, they would be able to address it during their time. See, public comment comes first, and they have their time. If you flipped it, then they might say something that the parties felt like they needed to respond to. All right, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Reeves,
Yes,
for
sir.
that. Ms. Williamson, do you have anything you would like to say?
I just want to thank everybody for all they do all the time and how they go beyond, extra and beyond. And I also would like to welcome, he's not here, but our new football coach.
Thank you. Mr. Carroll?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Ms. Gibson?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Miss Wendy Willis one more time. I have the privilege of visiting her classroom every month. I've been doing it for a couple of years, and I've gotten to know Miss Willis, and I congratulate her again.
Ms. Bell?
Congratulations to Ms. Willis for being Teacher of the Year and when she's going to represent our district. Congratulations to the Science Fair students for receiving the awards. Job well done. Mr. Jason Fletcher for grad night for his dedication to our students, and I want to thank him for his great example in helping our students enjoy their grad night. And welcome to our new football coach.
Okay. I received from as the board, we received a thank you note from Ms. Suzanne Griffin from her English 3 class, 4th period, and her English 1 3rd period class, thanking us for approving our trip to the Holocaust Museum, and all the students signed it. And I just want to thank Ms. Griffin for the nice thank you note, and I do appreciate her teaching students the proper etiquette of showing appreciation by a thank you note. I want to thank Mr. Haskell for being here tonight with the Sheriff's Department. I would like to congratulate Miss Wendy Willis on Teacher of the Year. That's a huge accomplishment, and I wish her well in Orlando this summer. I would like to congratulate the Science Fair winners, and I would like to wish all the students who, I'm not sure if it starts tomorrow, I know in other districts we're starting tomorrow on the FSA. I think 3rd grade maybe is starting the FSA tomorrow.
3rd and 4th grade, yep, they'll start tomorrow.
So I wish all of them good luck and to do their best, and that's exciting, but it's here, it's starting tomorrow. And just congratulating all the students who are having success at this end of the year. This is a busy time of the year for us, and congratulate all of them. With that being said, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I made the motion to adjourn.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor of adjournment, please show a hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for adjournment.